All right, here we go. 11.1b. We are talking about cross sections today. And first thing you need to know is what is a cross section. So a cross section is just the intersection. Remember back to chapter 1, intersections. The intersection of a solid and a plane. Okay, the intersection of a solid and a plane. It's like you took a really thin slice out of some solid, basically. So I'm going to give you some pictures. I'm going to give you some objects that we're going to talk through what a cross section would be, and then we'll figure out some shapes that go with these cross sections. So these are ancient. These came from Mrs. Price's dad, who used to teach here years and years ago. He was amazing. I love him. But using this figure, assume this is solid, okay? Totally filled in on the inside. If I were to take a plane and cut through this solid right here, okay? So essentially, think of it as like the plane slices it in pieces, and I open it up and I show you the shape. What shape are you going to get for the cross section where this solid intersects the plane that goes through it? A hexagon, right? This would be the cross section if I go through horizontally. Okay, what would the cross section be if I go through vertically? A rectangle, and a different size rectangle depending on where I go through, right? If I go through right here, that's the biggest rectangle you could get. But if I go through real close to the front, then my rectangle is going to be a lot smaller, more like this rectangle you see here, okay?
How would it not be like a trapezoid if you went like through the middle of the top?
Because it's just where the plane intersects it. So you would be breaking like a trapezoid off, right? If I put the plane through and I separated it, you would see a trapezoid there. I'm saying where the plane itself, where the plane that cuts through is hitting this figure would be a rectangle. I'll show you in picture form right now, actually. Well, almost right now. Okay, so let's look at this guy. Actually, no, let's just do this one. This is a rectangular prism, okay? If I go through vertically, what shape is my cross section going to be? It's going to be a rectangle, right? It's going to be this rectangle. If I go vertically through this, if I were to cut it, like take a saw, cut it, open it up, and show you the shape that's there, that would be a rectangle. What if I went through horizontally? It's a square, right? Because that's a square. Okay, let me draw you a picture. Let's say you have a triangular prism. So your bases are triangles. Okay, and now here's why I like to show you with these shapes, because drawing this is really not easy. Basically what I'm saying is if I were going to take a plane and cut through this figure, okay, so my plane is cutting through the figure. My cross section is wherever that plane actually hits that figure. So my cross section would be this triangle, right? The plane is cutting through. Here's the figure. Where it's cutting through, the overlap of the plane and the figure itself is just that little triangle. Okay, that is a cross section. God bless you. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to name some of these cross sections. So this first one is like example 4 in the book. Let's say I have a cone. Okay, so this is a cone. If I go through that cone vertically, okay, so if I cut through it vertically is this way, right? If the plane cuts through the cone this way, what is the shape of my cross section? Vertically would be a triangle, right? If I cut through vertically, I would get a triangle. So I'm saying if I were to put a plane through like this, my cross section would be that triangle. Okay? What if I went through horizontally instead? If I go through horizontally, okay, then my cross section, when I cut through here, my cross section is going to be something like this, right, which is a circle. So you just got to pay attention to which way you're going through and what is the shape associated with that figure, okay? What if I did, name this shape for me. What is this? It's a cylinder, okay? So in the cylinder, if I went through vertically, okay, what would my cross-section be? So here's a cylinder, right? If I go vertically through this, if I were to slice it and open it up, what shape would you see? A rectangle, right? That would be a rectangle. Basically, you're seeing here, 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 right? If I open that up, you're going to see a rectangle. Sorry, I ran out of room. Okay, that's a rectangle. What if I went horizontally through my cylinder? Horizontally would be a circle again, okay? So that's what you're going to be doing a lot of today. I can kind of show you, let me show you the vertical one just because, so if I'm putting a plane through like this, the overlap is that rectangle, okay? So sometimes you're going to be drawing the cross-section. Other times you're just naming the cross-section. We're going to do a little bit of drawing of cross-sections right now. So last type of problem, we'll do a few of these and then we'll be good. This is like example 5 in the book. They're going to say draw the cross-section formed by a vertical plane. And that's, you really got to pay attention to the wording on these. And you really need to make sure you know vertical versus horizontal, okay? I feel like so many times people get those mixed up. When you think vertical, think what's my vertical leap? Do you ever do that in PE, right? Your vertical is how high you can go. That's this way. If you think horizon, horizontal, you look out on the horizon, that's this way, right? So make sure you're keeping those straight. But this says draw a cross-section formed by a vertical plane intersecting eleven 1A. 11-1B, sorry. The right and left faces. Okay, so I'm going to give you a cube right now. Go ahead and draw a cube if you are taking notes on this. All right, so let's say we have a cube. Note the things of importance here. It's a vertical plane that goes through the right and the left faces. Okay, so which way is vertical? This way. Okay, so we're cutting a plane this way through the figure that has to go through the right and the left faces. Here's the thing with this, guys. Your best bet 90% of the time is you need parallel lines. So if I'm going through the right and the left faces, I want a parallel line in the right face to the line in the left face somewhere. Now there's not one right answer for this. There's a lot of right answers for this. I'm going to give you one of them, but they should all look similar to the one that I do, okay? So if I'm going to go through the right face, you have a line here that goes from the top of the right face to the bottom of the right face, okay? You want a line parallel to that in the left face. So from the top of the left face to the bottom of the left face. And again, like I said, those aren't the only two places I could have gone. I could have put it way back here. I could have put it up here. There's a lot of options for these. Pick one, okay? So if I go through the right and the left with my parallel lines, then my cross section is just joining the tops and the bottoms. So if I join here and I join here, my cross section is what fills in that rectangle, okay? So that would be a vertical plane that goes through the left and the right. Do you see it? Yeah? Okay. What if I said, give me a plane, it doesn't say vertical or horizontal, it says it goes through the top and the front faces, okay? Still of a cube. So draw yourself a cube. And like I said before, we want parallel lines. So what direction would you have to draw lines in order for them to be parallel in the top and the front? Horizontal, vertical, through the top and the front. If I draw vertical through the front, okay, in order to make it parallel up on top, because you want it to work with the sides, that doesn't work, right? Those two are not parallel to each other. So you don't want to draw them vertical. So let's try horizontal. If I go through the top and then the front, and again, you can pick anywhere on that front, those right now are parallel. All you have to do then is connect their endpoints, connect here, and then shade. So my cross section would be that rectangle if I went through the top and the front. Does that make sense? One of the few times that you don't draw parallel lines is if they give you 3 sides to go through. So like if they said go through the top, the front, and the right sides. Any guesses what you're going to get from that? It's a triangle, right? We're going through 3 sides. Triangle has 3 sides. So if I'm going through the top, the front, and the right, you need all those endpoints to match up. So your cross section, it's kind of like you're cutting a corner off, right? So if this is my figure, the top, the front, and the right, you would essentially slice through here, and you'd have this triangle. It would be a little pyramid that pops off, but the part that you cut through, the cross section, would be a triangle. Okay. Questions on that? Okay, so sometimes you're gonna have to draw cross sections, mostly with cubes. Other times you'll just have to name them from the shapes we're looking at. So that is it for that lesson. Any questions?